Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody who's tuning in, who will tune in. This is Reverend Donald Clay. I'm proud to be the pastor of the Greater Fellowship Christian Church, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm celebrating 40 years in ministry. This is our 40th year, and we've been doing this thing for a minute. I started preaching when I was 15 years old. In middle school, and I've been rolling ever since, some up and some down. And today we're continuing to celebrate, and I'm just super excited to have my brother and friend to be a part of this celebration. I invited him to come in and talk about it. Not only my L.A. brother, but he's now my Vegas brother. And so let me welcome in Pastor James McCool, Greater Carver Missionary Baptist Church here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And thank you so much for being with us today, Doc.
Absolutely, man. I'm honored.
Man, I'm glad to have you. Glad to have you. And we don't have an agenda. We just gonna chop it up, talk, and do some reminiscing. I've got a couple little pictures I want to show if I can get that going. And we have a connection that goes back beyond Vegas. And so we're going to talk about some of that today, and then maybe some other stuff that's going on. But again, I want to thank you so much for being on today, and not only just being on today, just being my brother in Christ and my brother in ministry, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. You just don't know. I can tell you, but the words don't come to me how important you are to me and ministry.
Right. Well, the feeling is mutual. I was thinking about that earlier. You can't pass them cool? All right. Oh, it's a little echo. Okay. I was thinking about that earlier today. It's like I'm older than you, but I don't feel older than you. So when you refer to me in the old tense, I have to remind myself, I can't think I am a few. I might be a good 10. So it's an odd dichotomy, you know what I mean? So yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna roll with it because I can't change it.
No, does he have two devices on?
Doc, you got two devices on your end. You just coming out. He got headsets on.
No,
he got headsets on, so I don't see where the echo is. Trudy's hearing echo.
Denise was on.
Let me see something.
Is echo somewhere?
Yeah, it's not you, I don't think, Doc. Let's see. This stuff. Okay. Say something, Doc.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. And you hearing him twice?
I hear him twice. It's like he's in a spaceship.
Really? Some odd anomaly going on. Might be the internet. Still doing this thing?
Yeah, let me let you listen.
All right, man. We can't troubleshoot like that.
I mean, I can take the earphone out to do that matter.
It's clear. He sounds like he's.
Yeah, let's do that for a second. I don't think that.
Can you hear me now?
Is it still the same?
Did he take it out?
Yep.
You gotta talk. It's delayed.
We got 10-second delay. Try.
Is it 10 second delay?
Yeah. She should have heard it by now.
Yeah, it sounds better, but it still sounds like a.
All right.
I can go without the earphones.
Yeah. Okay. She said that's better. Sorry about that, Doc.
Okay.
And speaking of tech, this morning we had a meltdown. I mean, all our switching equipment just decided it just wanted to take a break. And so we were rushing and scrambling. Yeah, it was like grab a laptop, turn it around, face it to the pulpit, and push record.
Hey, that's how I preached my first sermon in the pandemic.
Oh, is that right?
Telephone.
Okay. It worked. We got the message out.
Yeah,
That's. I mean, since we on that subject, we're in an age that we didn't predict. You know, we didn't see this coming. We didn't see this whole way we doing church now coming. So how's that? How is that for you? How you adjusting to that?
Uh, it's a bit of a struggle. It's a little strange. Definitely, in seminary, they don't teach you to preach any views.
Right.
So it has to kind of marry somewhere. But otherwise, we're doing the best we can with it. I mean, it's not terrible,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it's an adjustment for everybody.
Right. 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 And not too long ago, you had President West and myself on. We were talking about this whole church in the pandemic issue and our adjustment to it or lack thereof. And it looks to me, I'm no scientist, but it looks to me that we're gonna be in situations like this in years to come. So the church gonna have to pivot, kind of like it's doing, reinventing itself. I'm watching these guys who, when it first hit, they were like deer in headlights. And I'm not talking about small churches. I'm talking about mega ministries. It's like, they had to slam on brakes and then shut down and figure out how to pivot and do it. And then you went to church one Sunday and turned on cell phone and pointed to you, and you was rolling. They had to slam. They had to slam on brakes and come up with a whole new way of doing this whole thing. So, for a moment, at least for a good month or two, everybody was in the same boat. Mega ministries and small ministries, we were all on the same level, dealing with the same technology, having the same issues. And it ain't in my opinion, till here recently that we can now see the difference. We see full production and we see all kind of stuff happening. But at first month, we was all in this thing together.
Yeah, and even some of the mega ministries, we call them, they're written out or have moved into like smaller spaces and studios. I know Newburgh, where Jamal O'Brien is, they're in the studio on Sunday.
Wow.
They're not even in Newburgh at all. Because even with the technology, it's just too much to handle.
Right. Right.
And so they have to condense. If you watch Dewey Smith, they're in a little small area. Everything is just kind of like stage focus.
Right. Yeah. Production.
And then I look at other churches, Fellowship Chicago.
Yeah.
In my church, when we don't have a little sanctuary already look. So we just have to do it when we can.
Right. Yeah. See, we didn't have to do that big old pivot. I mean, which is, turned out to be a blessing. We just moved some stuff around and pointed camera in our direction. They had to deal with the whole logistics of facilities and, all kind of stuff. And it's just interesting to me, if not ironic, how tables turned and everybody was on the same level, and then when they started getting their feet under them, they still didn't get the whole, you talked about preaching to an empty pew. It was kind of odd to see somebody like Jake's and the camera at his back, and then it's just a big old vast audience of emptiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even in their production, they didn't get that. They hadn't made that leap. Hey, let's not show the audience. Let's just show Bishop Jakes and the choir and whatever, and not show the pews. Yeah. There's a guy.
Well, I think.
No, go ahead, Doc.
I think to a degree, smaller churches have become the model. Because the bigger churches are trying to figure out kind of how we're running smoothly. And now they're trying to figure out where we put too much.
Right.
Just to try to get it out the way I guess we felt people wanted us to do. And now I think the model is now kind of switching to less is more.
Right.
That you can still put out a good quality, without spending outrageous budgets to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I'm seeing that.
I think for me, the challenge is beyond the production, beyond the video, and I see you and others in this town doing a bang up job with it. You know, keeping ministry going outside of worship. You know what I mean? Keeping people connected and motivated. You got the prayer thing going on. You do it on a consistent basis. And we just had you just gave leadership and sponsorship to the National Day of Prayer. That was, I see that, and I mentioned in my Bible study, there are three things that we need to do. We need to pray about it. We need to talk about it, and we need to be about it. Right now, we're in the be about it stage. We done prayed, we talk now, and you all are doing the be about it stuff. So I see that as is the way ministry is going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boots on the ground type.
It's tough though, man. To break the cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Baptist people. It's got to be some kind of area in heaven for Baptists.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna
have their own room in heaven.
Yeah, it gotta be. Because he had to make them different.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it's tough to try to get people out of comfort zones. I am way out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm way out.
Yeah.
And so just trying to stay engaged with people. The truth be told, my focus primarily is how do I get them back into it.
Mm-hmm.
When they've been out so long.
Yeah.
And now we're already on the other side of 21 talking about coming home.
Yeah. Depending on how things go over this holiday season will determine, for the most part, where we're going to be in 2021. I mean, if these holidays continue to exponentially push up the numbers, that's going to spill over into January. You know what I mean? And we still cold.
Oh, yeah.
And then we may be next March before we get back down to a New York kind of 3%. So I don't know what that looked like. That is a challenge. Once we get in, I said a couple of Sundays ago, people talking all that talk. Like, yeah, I can't wait to get back in church and da da da. I'm like, but I'm thinking about it. You only came once every other month, right?
Right.
So now we developing this behavior and habit of not going, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a mountain to climb. That ain't going to be we open the door and everybody flood in. As far as I can see, just based on my prediction about human behavior, I could be absolutely wrong about that. I pray that I am. Yeah, that's going to be a challenge to get everybody back, But I think the key is to do what you and others I see in this city that are doing, engaging people, passing out food, having open outdoor prayer, doing ministry out of the box. You do these sit downs with your young people, and that's outside the box, and that may be where ministry is going to be instead of just us gathering together on Sunday and having the service.
Right.
Yeah, I think you all.
I mean, Clay, I'll tell you this, man. I think one of the things that's important is to figure out what out of the box means for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because out of the box for another ministry was have church in the parking lot.
Yeah.
That didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, my location and demographic don't go with it.
Mm-hmm.
The summer weather don't go with it.
Yeah.
And it's so I had to find another way. I'm still searching for another way to get people engaged in a way to where I can make it as high as I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
in doing whatever it is that they maybe get used to, or maybe not understanding exactly what they were doing in the first place.
Right.
And so my out of the box is way another direction.
Yeah. And
And
and that may be relative to each ministry, right? I know my friend, my brother, Pastor Harold Mitchell was having tent service, and he continues to have tent service, and he's been successful doing it, And my hat's off to them because they do it well. They maintain safety protocols and sanitation, the whole shot. You just don't show up at church without first of all, this is your Sunday. Second of all, making sure you follow all the safety protocols. They do that well, and it's successful to them. So we had an outdoor service, and it was the ending of summer, right? September, somewhere around there, and it was still hot. Right, we started early. It was 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was 8 o'clock service. I got truly. It was 8 o'clock service. We good. We got a little tent, and when the sun started peeking over and started hitting equipment, the sun just killed all our equipment. That was it. You know what I mean? So,
oh my God.
We had lofty ideas, but Vegas heat is for real. That ain't no joke. It's for real. Right? I couldn't. Oh. Yeah. Lady Clay's kind of prompting the discussion. She asked the question, where did we meet?
Me and you?
Yeah.
Tree of Life Baptist Church.
Tree of Life Baptist
South
Church.
Central Los Angeles.
9702 South Holmes Avenue.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, our pastors was friends. The late Reverend H.P. Rochelle and the late Reverend Billy James Ray were friends, and your pastor always I want to use the word mentor, but he treated me like I was his nephew. You know what I mean? Like if I saw him, he treated me like I was a nephew. Like come here, boy. Run down the store and do X, Y, Z, and go in there and pick that up until whenever I saw it.
You better know it.
Yeah. They don't make them like that no more.
No respect of the person.
No.
If you was gonna get it, you was gonna get it.
Yes.
And then you call your pastor and tell him I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I never did call it. I would have got it twice. No, whatever HP said to me, that was it. It wasn't going nowhere else. It was staying right there. I would have got it twice.
Man, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah.
You just had to, you loved it, but it was tough.
Right. Great News in a hot zone when I think about it. Y'all, that was like a hot zone. Y'all were on Avalon, right?
In 98.
Yeah, you draw a circle around y'all. Just draw a big old, 10. Let's go less than that, like 3 or 4 mile radius. I can circle a bunch of hot churches in that circle. Greater Gethsemane Christian Love down the street, right?
Yep.
Friendly Friendship, going the opposite direction. I mean, y'all were in the hot zone, but Great New Unity rocked. You all, if you drove past there, you thought you had Church of God in Christ, not Baptist Church.
Right.
I remember coming to y'all used to have those night services. What was that? Like Christmas time or something? Y'all would have some nighttime concert. Yeah. We have a big old concert at night, and I go sneak in the back. First of all, you couldn't sit anywhere. No seats. And Kathy up there directing.
That was the Spirit in the Dark.
Spirit in the Dark. That's right. We
had that a long time. I think they still have it. It would have been last Sunday. Sunday in November. We couldn't. Yeah, it was nowhere to sit.
No.
And if you remember, Clay, every Sunday night we had the broadcasts.
That's right.
The radio broadcasts.
Yep.
Everybody was on the radio.
Everybody. Yep.
Willie T. Sneed.
Yes.
I mean, man, that he could pray a prayer that used to make my grandmother pull over.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these guys had a broadcast at some point.
Mm-hmm. Everybody. Kelly Keys back in the day.
Kelly Keys, yeah.
Yeah, at Southern. And
Yep.
A Tree of Life. We had 2 broadcasts. We had one at 8 o'clock and one came on at midnight. We recorded at 6. Man, that's some all day church. We went to church at 8. We had Sunday school, 11 o'clock service, 3 o'clock outing, 6 o'clock broadcast. And then go home and try to get enough sleep to get up in the morning to go to school. Man, I don't know how I did. I graduated by the grace of God because there was a lot of Monday mornings. I'm like, that's why I took all my heart.
There was a 5-night revival.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That was gonna happen somewhere.
Right.
I remember we used to laugh at your life because remember you guys had that big red broadcast light up there.
Yeah. Yep.
When it was on live.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it seemed like it was always a guy hanging out that window. I had never been in that point, but there's always somebody with a window up there. Right?
Yeah, that's when we built the second part of the because the sound room was up there. So originally that was added right before Pastor Ray passed away. That was the educational wing, and the sound room that was once downstairs was upstairs. It was glass there, and so I mean if it was going to be like a recording studio, that might have been good to put glass there. But then we found out that you couldn't hear. You couldn't hear what was too loud, too loud, and the people can call you, and say, "Hey, turn this down." So they took the glass out. That's why people hanging out the window to listen to the signals. Yeah.
And that big red on air.
Yep, sign hung over the door. Yep, that line was that red light was on more than it was off. Willie T. Sneed had one too. They hit that red light.
Yeah, we did. And for whatever reason, we didn't have red light units.
No, I don't remember one.
No, we didn't have one.
But I know y'all.
You have to go back, so you have to remember before the balcony.
Yeah.
Before the balcony, that's the reason why they put it up there, because that's where they would film from.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, we had that VHS ministry.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the VHS and the beta. Started with the beta, then we went to VHS. Yeah.
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 And the PA is underneath the pulpit.
Right.
And so before the balcony came about, we just had that guy, I don't remember his name at the moment, that just kind of counted us in 3, 2, 1.
Wow. Was he a radio person? Was he a member of the church?
Yeah, it was a radio personality.
What
he would open it up, but I can't remember his name.
That was my guy from Maxwell. Maxwell, yeah, I have to ask your mother. That's because there was a couple 2, 3 that was running around town hooking people up and make sure the telephone lines was working, that kind of stuff. I know John Maxwell at Little Zion. He ran some stuff, and a bunch of others whose names escape me right now. They were running stuff. They would go, they'd be running from church to church, hooking up broadcasts and checking television.
He was a real dark-skinned guy. Had a little short afro.
Oh, I think I know you're talking about. I can't call it. I know you're talking about. I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about because he did concerts too.
Him.
Yeah.
He did.
Too. Yep, I know who I know exactly who you're talking about. Huh? No, not Collins. No, he wasn't a concert promoter. He was like an audio engineer. She's talking about Ollie. You're talking about Ollie Collins. Yeah, Ollie Collins. Like,
oh yeah,
Ollie did radio and quartet concerts. Yeah. He had that record store.
Yeah, that was before. That was Prez Blackman.
Right. Yeah, I think Prez still doing his thing, right? Yeah, he was all over.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. He was all over
His
town.
son can sing really well.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah. We doing some flashback reminiscing.
Yeah.
You sent me this picture. Let me see if I can bring it up. And some of these fellas, I pray that I am able to. Most of these fellas going on to be with the Lord. So your pastor,
Yeah.
Pastor H.P. Rochelle, you're gonna help me with some of these folk. I'm gonna call Higgins. Is that Frank Higgins?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was president of the Baptist Ministers Conference.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah, and Gates. No, Lyons. That's Lyons.
Yeah.
That's Lyons. President Lyons.
Henry Lyons is number front.
Right, Henry Lyons. Isom Taylor.
Yeah.
This fellow over here in the collar, man, his name escaping me, but I've known him for years. I can't call his name. Can't call his name. Somebody watching who know these folk, help us with these names. And who's in the background, Doc? I can't call any of these fellas.
The guy. Yeah, I don't. Some of them guys.
Yeah, some I can't remember, but I mean,
They call name.
the front row guys I definitely know. And when Higgins was running to be the president of the conference, my pastor took me down to the meeting, paid my dues. I don't know how old I was. I was a teenager. Paid my dues and told me who to vote for. They can't take back the man's presidency, but it was some shenanigans going on, man. He's like, "Oh, what you doing tonight?
Oh yeah.
What you doing today? I gotta go to school." No, you taking tomorrow off. Taking tomorrow off.
Yeah.
You going to meet to the conference? I'm like, I felt important. He went up there and he paid my dues and whatever it was, and then we voting. I'm like, voting? I just got
Yeah,
here.
I paid dues to vote.
That was I think he was running in. My timeline could be messed up. I think he was running in because all those fellas was everybody. All the big fellas was there. All the big fellas.
Isom Taylor, that's Robert Taylor's dad, right?
Yep, that's Robert Taylor's dad. Yep. Yep. Isom was he general secretary of a big old of a district?
Yeah, he was California Baptist State.
California Baptist State. Yeah. We were involved. We were duly aligned for some reason. Because we were involved in the Missionary Baptist, and we were involved in the one that Hill and them was in, National Baptist.
Yeah.
So we were duly aligned. So
The weird thing about it, I think Unity was in California State Baptist Convention. Hardwick was Rochelle's pastor, but we never got in Western Baptist.
Oh, is that right?
We never did.
That's interesting. We're gonna have
But
to talk.
the district that he was moderating over, Paul was moderator of Providence.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And at that time, the churches that were really playing was like Citizens of Zion.
Yeah.
Down there were two signees now, St. Andrews, St. Reed.
Yeah.
I don't remember the guy that was there before Jenkins. Back in the day.
I don't recall. Papa Dunn said Isom became the executive secretary.
Okay.
Yeah. Because him and Papa Dunn used to work together. On in a district convention work. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Now I need you to tell me this story. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up because it's an interesting story. You shared it with me. Where is it? Let me see if I can pull this up. See if you see it. Now this fella back here, this fella right here. Can you see it, Doc? You told me the story about your pastor giving you responsibility to pick this guy up? Is he the one? This the fella?
No, that's Marcus
That's
Constantly.
who's the preacher that you was given responsibility for picking him up from the airport and getting him
Kevin
back?
Constantly.
Kevin Cosby. There you go. Tell me the Kevin. Sorry, Marcus. Wrong Cosby. Tell me that story, Doc. Tell me that story.
16 years old. Just got a 1991 Subaru Legacy.
You was rolling.
Power windows in the sunroof. And he told me one day he was coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
Go down to the airport, LAX, and pick him up. And I said, okay, because he couldn't say no.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down and picked him up. And he told me that particular day, take him downtown with the suits. He only wear black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took him downtown. We had to stay with him the whole day. And the guy, put him in the hotel and stay down there and wait on him.
Mm-hmm.
And Cosby had told me, go, and I called him when I'm ready. And somebody else, I think, was more or less the person that's supposed to pick him up and bring him to the church. And so we get there, and in some kind of way, he gets to the office before I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that led him to believe I didn't do what he told me to do. And I heard some words that maybe in the Hebrew, you can relate them to some Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Because he went through a different door than I did. I came up in a generation, I didn't have access to go to a pastor's office.
No. Mm-mm.
That you don't even try it.
Mm-mm.
And I get to the back just to say he's here, and it was just a bad situation.
Yeah.
Verbally.
Right. Yeah.
The first time that Kevin Cosby came to preach that revival, you should remember, Clay, every year we had Johnny Youngblood.
Right. That's right.
And then when he became the moderator of the Providence District, he brought Cosby.
Okay.
And that first year it was at Unity.
Okay.
And then it moved to kind of Citizens Zion a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went to St. Andrews. Went to Welcome, J.W. Brown.
Yeah.
And then it ended at Tabernacle of Faith.
Okay.
Right
across the street. Yeah. That kind of relationship young preachers had with older pastors is totally different than it was today. It was like I'm not having a bunch of senses of nostalgia. I'm just talking about what I see as matters. It's matters of fact as far as I'm concerned. Is I couldn't go if we were visiting a church. I just couldn't go into the pastor's study. I had to wait on my pastor to show up. If I had never been there before and they invited me to the pulpit, I didn't go, especially if my pastor was going to be there. Because he didn't say I had to, don't just show up and just walk to the pulpit. And my, preaching credentials was only as good as he said they were.
Right.
90% of my preaching appointments came from his friends.
Absolutely.
And if I didn't get the okay to go preach or to go be somewhere or speak on the theme, that was the end of it. It wasn't no, we invited your son. You invited what? Man, that was war.
Yeah.
You just didn't get just invited and don't run it past him. Matter of fact, those pastors, they talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So So it was a whole different era. It's a whole different day. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it might have been for this generation. Might be a little bit oppressive, but those cats, man, they didn't. Yeah, I think.
Well, see, if you didn't have a license to preach, your preaching didn't extend past your home church.
Yeah.
Unless your pastor said you can come, and then if he says you can come, you're in a tight leash.
Right.
You know, you didn't really have the freedom to just say I'm going to preach something.
Yeah.
And then I think also the professional courtesy, the pastors wouldn't extend you an opportunity without calling your pastor first.
Right.
So when I heard somebody wants you to come preach, I heard it from a pastor.
Oh yeah.
I ain't never heard from that.
Yeah. Yep.
And
that's
the younger preachers now, they don't understand.
No. They would find it repressive. They would.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I didn't.
I mean, so let me talk about you real quick.
No, that's not Doc.
So for y'all that's watching, Clay was revolutionary in Los Angeles in that he had the ability to do what young preachers just could not do. The idea of a young pastor or youth pastor or youth minister was not a thing then. You didn't have the leeway to tell somebody I'm a youth pastor.
Mm-hmm.
That just wasn't a thing. And what you were able to do in a big pond that just South Los Angeles was,
mm-hmm.
you preached everywhere. I remember coming to you in the Bible at E. Boyd Esther's church.
You don't
on a Friday night.
Yeah, I remember that.
On Central and what is that before you get out?
135th, I think.
Some
down there. Mm-hmm.
And when by the time we come up to be able to preach somewhere, preachers would say, "You know, Don Clay, you have become that forerunner for us because we didn't get those opportunities. I might have preached in unity once a year,
mm-hmm.
and you kind of blazed the trail. I remember coming to you at being Little Zion, and I remember coming to you. The church was on Western or something. Western and I want to say Century.
Oh yeah, Freeman was the guy's name. J.A. Freeman. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember going to you there and just in South Los Angeles itself.
Right.
And so what you did for us, you don't know it, but you gave us a voice. You gave us an opportunity. I remember going to talk to Papa, and I said, "Papa, I want to preach more. I won't tell you how that went initially."
I already know.
But he said, and I gave him some conversation about where I was going with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You want to be able to do that. There's a preparation place,
right?
That I need to get you prepared to be in,
mm-hmm.
because being licensed and ordained was gold.
Yeah. It was
everything. Gold then. I mean, you didn't just have no ordination.
No.
If they didn't think you were going to amount to something,
right?
You were not going to get ordained.
Right.
And so you gave us that opportunity to say, we can go and we can go preach and we can be respectful and we can talk about what they tell us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it's doctrinally sound is a different point, but at least we can go.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really revolutionary for us because I mean, even my pastor right now, Renee Green,
Mm-hmm.
you were on the phone. You were on the phone with me that day when he said we hated Clay.
Yeah, he did.
Because Clay could preach in places they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody preached an independent Democrat.
Yep.
And then he would leave town and bring Clay in to preach with like 10 preachers up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Glenn said he used to hate to see him come.
That's crazy.
You know? And it was a different time, of course. But I mean, it really helped us to have a voice.
Right.
That's what you did for us, man.
That's amazing to me.
You mentored so many of us.
Yeah. Man, listen, first of all, I appreciate that. I'm totally unconscious of it though. I mean, that you know, I can't dispute it. I'm totally unconscious of it. All I know is that my pastor paved that way. You know what I mean? He gave me leeway and had confidence enough to push me out there. You know, that's just retro. In the moment, I didn't see it, but he thought enough of me. Yeah, he thought enough of me to put me out there, because he would do stuff on purpose, Doc. This is what we would have it'll be an anniversary service or something, and he would say, y'all, the choir gonna meet me there, and da da da. You know how HP would do. Y'all be there, and I want every choir member there, and I want my preachers there, right? And he'll lean a little bit something to me, make sure you there, right? So I get there, and he was on to preach. So I'm up in the choir. We singing the introduction song before he get up to preach. And then the pastor of the church leaned back to me and say, Ray called and said, "You're gonna preach in this place." I'm like, "What?"
Oh Lord.
I'm 17 years old. Man, I don't know about preaching on anniversary. You know what I mean? He on purpose he would do that to me. He would, and my heart would pound on every outing. Every time we went somewhere, my heart would be like, do. I hope Pastor comes to because when this song is over, I'm gonna run out the door. But he had that kind of confidence, and hopefully, I was respectful to those singing pastors who he put in the past. And Tree of Life was like the Watts Church. Everybody passed through. You know what I'm saying? So some of these big preachers I saw because I was at Tree of Life. You know,
right?
When back in the day we had the big tent revivals up on Figueroa and Imperial. Or was that Vermont? That was Figueroa and Imperial. It's a big old. It's the freeway passes through there now. And we right. We had C.L. Franklin one year, and Berlin Jenkins, and Mac McCullen, the one-armed bandit, and Rivers. Mississippi Midget, Rivers. We had big evangelists coming through there, and then all those guys. It was a city, because I think E.E. Stafford was still at Paradise. I don't think he had Mount Tabor yet. I remember that transition. Wow. Yeah, and all those preachers, different than today, either they were sponsoring or they would come through. You know what I mean? You couldn't get in that tent.
No.
And I was in the back selling tapes. We back there copying tapes. Put labels on them and sell them tapes after every service. That's what we was hustling tapes and sermons, because Reverend Ray was selling sermons. Yeah, tapes and sermons. I was back there hustling. But those, that was a different era and a different time. Yeah. And I think that defined a lot of stuff. And man, I'm just grateful that the Lord blessed me in that way. And I don't think of myself any better because of it. It's just a generation I came in. You know what I mean? And there wasn't a lot when I came around. There wasn't a whole lot of young preachers. There was some, but
Right.
I was 15. I was in middle school. So it wasn't a whole
Right.
lot of young. Then after that, we had onesie, twosie, a 12-year-old or such and such. You know what I mean? But on a
Yeah.
consistent basis for a long time, I was like the only guy. You know what I mean?
That's
A
true.
lot of these guys were older than me, and then there was a bunch of younger than me because my
Right.
older mentors was pastor of Metropolitan Baptist Church in Pasadena, California, Tyrone Skinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my my nephew's over here talking about it a long time ago. Boy, your breath smell like Similac. Go sit down somewhere. A long time ago, that's my nephew. Yeah, there was a void. So the guys above me was Skinner and Gordon, and then some of my contemporaries, like a little older than me, they were at Bishop College. So
Yeah.
they were at Bishop College, and I was kind of I was in that little group by myself for a minute. For a minute. Yeah, for a minute. Yeah. So man, I listen. I'm just thrilled to have you as my friend and my brother. I was unaware of it. You talked about Donald Gardner. Donald Gardner was a friend of mine, and
Yeah.
I can't explain it to you other than this. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to push the pastor, and he would run. Donald Gardner did more revivals in Los Angeles than
Oh
any
my
preacher.
God.
He won the ACC Evangelist of the Year every year. Right?
Everything.
Donald will be at your church campaigning. Doc, you make sure you vote for me, Doc.
Yeah.
So back in the day, he would come to Tree of Life, and I was a youngster then. And when I got to be an adult, I was over at St. Peter's Baptist Church with D.D. Livingston.
Yeah.
And I was over the youth choir. So when Donald would come do the revival, I'd make sure the choir was there and that we was there every night. You know what I mean? So me and him became friends out of that. So when I organized, and he would be, I'm going out of town, and I don't want nobody on my broadcast. I want you to come do my broadcast. And I would go in there, and I would feel the tension when I walk in the door. It's like the cast of the pulpit was like, first of all, who is he? Because Celestine Booker was playing the organ. You remember Celestine?
Celestine Booker,
yeah. And like, who is that? And then after that, it was like
Chucky Booker's mom.
Yeah, Chucky Booker's mama. Yeah. Then after a while, it was here come Clay again. Yeah.
They were mad at you.
Man, I didn't. I felt the tension, but I wasn't, completely aware of it. Yeah, thank you. I wasn't completely aware of it. I'm just, I was just doing what I was asked to do. You know what I mean? I didn't come with any. I don't believe I did come with any, preconceived notion. When you're a young preacher and you're the only preacher, there is a degree of arrogance. Because I was accused of that.
Yeah.
Clay's arrogant. Yeah, I can't. I did have, some confidence.
Right. Rightfully so.
I had some confidence, Doc. Man, tell me about your journey to Las Vegas to pastor.
Wow. In hindsight, I wouldn't have if I knew the church culture was in the condition it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really didn't have a need to come. In the natural side.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I think what it was, I kind of was in the transition. My father just died, and my mother had got sick. So I was trying to, she wasn't going to come back to California.
Mm-hmm.
So I was having kind of a conversation with God about what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was pastoring my first church, I came here and I back and forth to California and here for about 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
I would come up on Tuesday and I would stay until Saturday morning. then go back to LA
Mm-hmm.
maybe to Tuesday and come back. And I did that for 9 months.
Wow.
And finally, on the freeway, I talked to the Lord and I said, the church is called Universal Missionary Baptist Church, which was on 76th Central,
Yeah.
right by Avenue.
I know where it is.
And what was that? King Solomon. I used to love him.
Yep. My cousin lived right down
And
75th Street.
Yeah. I told God, I said, Lord, I can't do this drive no more. I can't do this back and forth. I need you to let me make my peace so that church can find me pastor.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I'm a freeway pastor.
Yeah.
I can't do a funeral. I can't do a wedding. I can't really do nothing. So I got the answer I needed and made the transition as smooth as I can for them to find a pastor. I installed the guy on, and I'm here. And I was up for 2 churches at about the same time. New Revelation, then Greater Carver.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of how it played out. I'm not sure if I really wanted to do it because I had become very numb to church. And the idea of what the church was or what it was going to become, what it was evolving into. So I just wasn't really sure I wanted to do it. I had a conversation with my wife about it. And she was really like, please don't.
Yeah.
But I wasn't content with doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to kind of let the Lord order my steps with it. And many people don't know this. I lost the first election.
Oh, is that right?
The church here they picked another guy.
Wow.
And he was here about 9 months. And so I would say about 10 months later, they called me back.
That's crazy.
And here I am, almost 4 years now. And I'm telling you, it's miles apart from what I know to what I'm doing.
Wow.
Miles apart.
I don't want to interrupt your flow because I just had this same conversation with my wife. Did we have the same conversation? Oh, she behind. She 10 seconds behind. She'll get it in a second. But I just had this same conversation with my wife about where you come from and what you do, what you've been doing in ministry, and where you go to, and the big adjustments you got to make. You know what I mean? So talk about that for a minute. I mean, you don't have to be very specific, just in terms of ministry, and because we were just talking about that this morning. We was having that conversation on the way to church. You know, how you have to deconstruct everything that you think you know and what you've been doing to accommodate where you are and what you have to do, right?
Right.
Can you speak to that?
This is not about being flexible. This is about adaptation.
Wow.
Because I'm walking into a situation I've never seen before. I never think I've ever seen 2 churches on the same corner that don't fellowship.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I mean, because when we would have a fellowship with friendly friendship, we walk down there.
Yeah.
we'll stop at Tams and
Get a burger.
get a hamburger special.
Mm-hmm.
And we walk down there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never seen a Christian culture where I think I told you, I feel like a misfit.
Wow.
Like I'm trying to squeeze into something that doesn't fit, and it's only initially uncomfortable, and now these years later, I'm still uncomfortable, but I'm stretching a little bit.
Hmm.
And it's difficult to unlearn.
Yeah.
To unlearn everything I've been taught just to try to do something that is presupposed that the Lord wants me to do. But whether or not I can do it is a different thing.
Wow. I wish I could tell you I don't relate. I wish I could say I can't relate to nothing you're talking about. But I totally relate. The aha moment for me, and we got to remember that, and this is only in retrospect, we have to remember that every city and every culture is absolutely different. Like Chicago is different from Memphis. Memphis is different from Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Every church environment, every culture is different, right? So Vegas is a different culture.
Mm-hmm.
It is defined. It's a defined culture, and it's nebulous at the same time. You know what I'm saying? There's a defined indigenous culture. The people who've been here, and a lot of a good friend of mine been here for almost 70 years, and when I talk to him, there's a defined culture. Then there's the nebulous culture that's always moving and transient, and unrested, unsettled. So you go to church, like I go to your church this Sunday, and I'll see somebody, and I say, "Oh, you're a member of Pastor McCool's church?" No. I just go to Pastor McCool's church, but I'm really a member of so and so church. Well, how come every time I come to every time I go to go to my brother's church, I see you there? Yeah, but I'm really a member of so and so. That's my pastor. I'm confused because in L.A.
we didn't do that.
No, I might visit you, but you ain't gonna see me every Sunday at the same. No. And when I was coming up, that would be a phone call. So if I went to E-Boy Esther Church and I was there 2 Sundays straight, that was a phone call.
Yeah.
Billy, your son. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on?
Yeah, we didn't. That just, so I understand exactly what you mean. It's a cultural shift. It's a reinvention of whatever tools you think that you have. You have to examine them and re-examine them and have a bunch of self-doubt. And I think we talked earlier today. My wife said I'm doing too much talking, so I'm gonna stop talking. We had a conversation. It was yesterday. We had a conversation about where you measure success. Right? If we were home, by home I mean LA, there's a measurement of success in ministry that we just stick next to us and say, you know what, I'm doing pretty good. You know, if I'm hitting these marks, we doing all right. Don't work here. You can't measure it based on that. You have to measure it on a smaller level and a more intimate level. Because if you don't, you'll miss where the growth is happening. That's just my opinion. I'm not an expert. I've been here 20 years. This is based on my, because you'll be discouraged if you measure it on this.
But what do you do about the people who are used to that? How do you?
Oh, my wife, she said you're not on mic, so I don't know how you're gonna answer this question.
My question is for those who are used to that type of ministry. How do you meet their needs, or do they have to suffer until the other people? Or it's hard. What do you do? How do you meet those people? What they're used to.
What say you, Doc?
Well, I think sometimes you gotta you kind of got to look at it from the perspective that there's always casualties to war.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when those people have expectation to something that doesn't exist? Either we have to create it, or if it does exist, then we have to figure out a way to revive it.
Hmm.
And if Biden is going to cause more damage to good, then we have to speak to the people with that expectation of how to change it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to figure out a way for you to change what you expect, because unfortunately, people respond based on what they expect.
Hmm.
So if they expect it to be one thing, that is the response. So it's just like being in a concert. You can sell out your church if Ty Tribbett is coming, because the expectation that they already have, they know what he's going to do. Unfortunately, that can't transcend to a Sunday morning, even though they know that you preach with,
Mm-hmm.
or that the choir is decent.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the expectation because either they're not going to get it consistently, or it just doesn't exist.
Hmm. Wow.
And it's difficult for the California people that I'm pastoring now. They come to me and go, "What is this?" And I say, "It's succotash." It's a melting pot.
Yeah, it's in there. It's all of that in there. Put it on your greens.
Yeah, just put it all in there.
Put it all in there.
I don't like secretary.
You know what? If we were, I don't know. I'm with you on your assessment of it. It took me. You come to a conclusion much sooner than I did. But if we packed up and moved to Kenya, me, you, Sister McCool, Sister Clay, we all pack up. We going to Kenya. We gonna do ministry. It's gonna be a different beast than it is in Vegas, right?
Oh yeah.
We gonna find people walking from village to village to get to church, to sit on a dirt floor to go to church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We gonna see people giving their basically giving their all, or nearly their all, to support the church.
Yeah.
Trudy says she ain't going to Kenya. Yes, she is. That's what I mean by cultural difference. I don't necessarily mean ethnic in terms of African American. I'm talking about spiritual culture.
Yeah.
Right? There's a spiritual culture. There's a spiritual culture in Las Vegas. That you remember that scripture in Daniel where the angel had been wrestling, and he said, "I would have been here earlier, Daniel, with your answer."
Yeah.
But I was fighting this angel, this demon, and he's gone. And when I leave here, the Prince of Persia shall come. Well, the reference to the Prince of Persia was not just literally the Prince of Persia, as in the person who is going to be the Prince of Persia, but it's the spirit of Persia that directed the Prince of Persia. So he was talking spiritual. I think that this is my little spiritual idea. That every town, every community has a spirit entity that defines who it is. If you go to New Orleans has a spiritual identity. You know what I'm saying? You go to New York, or you go down to Brooklyn, or you go down to the Bronx, there's a whole different spiritual identity that's going on. Right?
Yeah.
I was in the Bronx at a Good Friday service. I preached all day on Good Friday all over New York. And anyway, ended up in the Bronx about 1 o'clock in the morning. And church started at midnight, Good Friday. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We still churching. Now, church is out, and everybody's, walking. And, I'm from L.A. I see all of these women walking to the subway. I tell to my buddy who I'm with, I say, "Hey, Doc, You see 3-4 women, they walking down this dark alley by themselves. He said, he from New York. He said, man, don't worry about it. Because whoever robbed them in trouble. Like whoever tried to rob them, they in trouble. They in trouble. They okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain cultural cultural identity. I don't know if you know my brother. If he was still in L.A. at the time, Pastor Emmanuel B. Luther. My friend, my brother, he was at McKinney. You remember him? He's down in Florida. What's up, Doc? Manuel say that folk have itchy ears and they can't hear sound doctrine. And what else you say, Doc? And he said, many man, they God of their word, the God of this world basically has blinded them. And that could be. I mean, that could be true. I just see a cultural difference. It's not. You know, I'm becoming less and less critical in understanding the triage that we in, the acute care that needs to happen. You know, and I think we came here with one expectation about what the patient needed, and it's not what they needed because they can't relate to it. My friend down there, Horn, told me along like my 4th year here. He said, "Doc, you ain't in L.A."
Right.
We was in the pulpit, you know. We was in the pulpit at his anniversary, and I was like, I'm depressed about it. I'm like, man, the way these preachers, I'm like, Doc, we don't do this. What y'all doing? We don't do this. Well, we don't do this. I'm like, I come to your birthday party and then nobody bring a birthday gift. I said, we don't do this.
You know, we do this.
I said, he leaned over and said, Doc, you ain't in L.A. I'm like, what? Bust my bubble. I learned a lesson that night. Nah, for real. Like for real. For real. But I will encourage you, man, to keep on pressing though.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, keep on pressing. I eavesdrop in on your stuff and the work you all doing, and I'm just, when I get a pop up in the middle of the day that y'all having prayer, that becomes my prayer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might be in there, not saying nothing, but I'm getting the prayer. You know what I'm saying? I'm, y'all passing out food. I'm getting that, and keeping the ministry going, reinventing yourself, and I see the work you're doing, and I want you to be encouraged, because the barometer is not what we expect. It's incremental.
Right.
If you got that one member that used to do nothing, didn't pay attention, didn't come to Bible study, and then one day say to you, that sermon you preach or that lesson you taught, I'm helped by it, I'm growing by it, and you can see it. You can see the measurable growth. That's gold.
Yeah.
It's absolute gold. Just absolute gold. I'm not talking about the building. I'm not talking about adding 5 more pews. I'm talking about that one person, that one individual that you ministered to in a way, and you've impacted them in a way, and you can see it. Celebrate that. Celebrate that.
I hear you.
Yeah, celebrate that. Tell
us some goodies about Pastor Clay and Pastor McCool.
Lady Clay want to know about some goodies about Pastor Clay, but Pastor McCool don't know any goodies to share with you today to use against me.
Well,
she ain't invited in this discussion next time. Doc, you got any goodies?
I remember the saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
Many of y'all don't know the 100 ball choir roll play.
Yeah.
Okay, so Unity and the Tree of Life used to literally fellowship 4 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
There was both anniversaries. There was a Thanksgiving service, and then there was sunrise service
in the park. Mm-hmm.
In the park, in the middle of the hood,
right?
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
Real Rogers Park. Now it's called Ted Watkins.
What is that? What's that park name?
It's named after the founder of WLCAC, Ted Watkins Sr.
Ted Watkins, yeah. So we are crazy people. we're in a park gymnasium
Right.
at 5 o'clock in the morning. Somebody got to preach. Now, the highlight of it is you have some of the greatest singers in the world
Right.
are in the park at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Unity, Tree of Life, and a bunch of other straggling choirs combined. I don't even know when they set on 150 of them people.
Yeah, me
Robert Henry, the architect of choir directing. I mean, he was just on his own level.
Mm-hmm.
He's just his own person. You had Catherine Michelle. And this is the only time to where I don't know, but it seemed like there was a conflict, like who gonna play,
Right.
who gonna preach,
Right.
who gonna sing,
Right.
because there was no shortage of any of them.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And I remember when you had a lot of hair.
Yeah. A couple days ago.
But see, I'm telling you, you still got what we didn't get.
Mm.
They would still say to you, go do a prayer.
Right.
And we'd be sitting there like, they don't have us.
That's wrong for that.
You know, I can, well, so the point is, you remember how crucial altar call was
Yeah.
in a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock.
Yes. Yes.
That was the beginning of the pastor's spot.
Mm-hmm.
Altar call that leads to the tithes and offering, that leads to the sermon.
Right.
And you were able to get the 11. We finally got blessed by God, and we was able to preach in midnight musical.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to have to go to the Holiness Church after the broadcast so we could preach.
Yeah.
We've been in churches, before that 7 in the morning.
Right. And they bump until 12.
And then they bump, yeah. And then you waited 2 hours to preach. And you would always be able to get those 11 o'clock services. We don't know how we get them games. And then here's the next thing. You got paid. Sometimes. We didn't even, when we finally got the spot, they still would send a check to our pastor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he told me one time, when they sent me the check, I need some money. I guess they ain't sent the check. Because we didn't get
It's still on the way, Doc. It's still on the way.
It's still on the way.
It's still on the way. Wow.
Clay had you were transformative. Like, you were the only person we would see. It was like a Superman thing. You were in a robe and then in a suit in the same service.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
And we were going, well, you got to preach. You got to section. I remember this one time we were in fellowship with Tree of Life, and we had to go. I don't know how we got in there. I think the preacher's name was out of Germany.
Yeah, I remember Jeremy. Yeah. Yep.
New Salem, I think it was called.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the church, but I remember him. Yeah.
And some way Unity and Tree had to be there at the same time. And I remember
Trudy said,
You
yeah,
get
it was
tapped
Salem.
on the
It was
shoulder.
Salem. Yeah.
Salem.
Uh-huh.
You got tapped on the shoulder, and your pastor said, "Don't put that robe on."
Yeah.
And I remember you had the sax case in hand.
Yeah.
People don't know you carried it everywhere you went.
I carry that sack everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, at one time, you didn't know this right behind your back. When people would say Clay, and like, the saxophone guy?
Yeah.
And then the other crowd of us are going, no, the one that preaches. We playing the music now, he preaching.
Yeah.
But here's a good nugget. Your reputation always precedes you.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when some preachers, Saunders and others, and it just wasn't working at Tree of Life, your reputation was good enough for them to come to you and get the solace they needed when they were kind of running into brick walls over there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were a lot of fights with that low had that Ray did.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And I guess the time frame is so much different, or the culture had shifted, I mean.
Right.
You know, but it was just so many things, and so your reputation was good enough to where they could leave there and say, call Craig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you would be able to step in for a lot of guys. They may never call you and say it, but those of us that was watching, and you know yourself, the group of preachers you ordained, that you allowed to preach, that you allowed to come over and share, you know, those are the things that you can't never forget.
Right. Well, man,
you know,
I appreciate you. I appreciate all of that. Like I said earlier, I was unconscious of it. You know, we came from some strong pastors, and in regard to the late Reverend William David Lowe, who pastored Tree of Life a number of years and came up as a boy preacher, because he's already preaching when he came to Tree of Life, pastored that church until he transcended. Those were big shoes to fill. It was big shoes to fill. And when I was about 18 years old, I think I was my first year in college, and they were taking applications and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, all these people in your ear, yeah, you should be the pastor.
Yeah.
And I remember putting my application in and, you know, going on that initial interview. And basically they told me that, you know, no, you would be used. In other words, the people in power would use you. You wouldn't be your own person. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
And so that just hurt me. I'm like, man, I grew up in this church. And, you know what I mean? I left there. This is a young preacher. I left there bitter.
Yeah.
But to this day, it is the greatest favor that they could have ever done to me, because I wasn't ready. I was 18 years old. I was in college. I wasn't ready for all the stuff that I see other preachers go through, and walking in those shoes. I don't know what God would have done. I can't prognosticate that, but I can say, just reflecting on the 18-year-old Clay, he wasn't ready. And I know he wanted the keys to the car, but he wasn't ready to drive that car. No, not the 18-year-old Clay. No. But we came through a generation of preachers who groomed us in a hard way, right? I mean, your pastor would not edit or audit anything he was gonna say to me. Whatever he felt like saying. The last time I saw him, I can't tell the story in this complete unedited form. I think it was my second year in Vegas. Might have been my first year in Vegas. I was invited to preach the 7 Last Sin at the ministers' conference. So I was up before him in the order. right? And so he leaned over to me and said, I gotta find out a way how to say this. They must don't know who your yellow is. Got you before me.
Yeah.
Then he told me, if you kill me, I'ma cuss you out.
That's right. He knows that for sure.
Man, we chopped it up after that. But I'm like, man, but I missed him. I missed that. See, I hadn't had that. I was in Vegas 2 years. I hadn't had that relationship, like this old school relationship. And here it is in the pulpit. He give me instructions. He give me criticism. He telling me, he having a full on. Now, this is some inside baseball preacher stuff. He giving me full on point by point what this dude did that he shouldn't have done, and what you should do if you ever in that. Now, by that time, I'm a grown man preaching, but he's giving me instructions like, "Now, Doc, you get up, don't do that. Reverend, don't you do that. Now, you make sure you do this, this, and this." Now, I've been preaching a long time by the time I'm doing HP talking to me.
Yeah.
But he giving me instructions. Don't do that and don't do this. And so at the end of that service, what's my man name from preaching passing Port out to Texas, got Bethany of West Los Angeles, follow Rasheed Johnson, L.A. Kazee. L.A. Kazee,
yeah.
preached the last word. Man, pandemonium.
Wow.
Pandemonium. And H.P. Rochelle said to me, they better not put a preacher behind it. Whoever the preacher is, need to get up, thank everybody, and sit down. That's what he said to me. The prophet H.P. Rochelle. Well, of course, this brother didn't do it. He didn't do it. And so, the rest is history.
Right.
We remember L.A. We remember L.A. Kazee. We remember what that close was. We remember that whole sermon, the whole thing. But
yeah.
HP said to me, me and Mitchell were sitting next to each other. He said to me, whoever it is, they all just get it. He should have. That's some lessons that my pastor, your pastor, taught me along the way. When to stand up and when to sit down. I ain't mastered it.
Oh yeah.
But there have been many Sundays where people invited me to preach, and the service was so hot and the Spirit was moving in such a direction that it didn't have anything to do with me, that I just simply sat down. And I've seen people wrestle with that thing, try to ride it out and do all kind of stuff. And the Lord said, no. I learned that from my past. Sometimes it's just, and then getting up behind the preacher. I'm doing too much talking.
Right.
You come to my church, Doc, and you preach, and you show up preach, and the Spirit is high, and then I come back behind you and ride and preach a whole new different sermon and go a whole nother hour.
Oh, no. No.
Woo, that would make him mad. That would make him mad.
Pulpit etiquette.
Like, don't you ever.
I remember first time I had a conversation with Pastor Ray. We had something going on at Unity, and so I think the color must have been some red, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I literally had on a red suit. So he said, "Do your grandfather know you got that on?" He said, "Go home and take that red suit off. Don't put nothing on." He said, "Now this is what I always suspected about that generation. You didn't have to be their member.
No.
For them to say, that ain't how it go."
Right.
I learned from Big Ray, you get a black suit, a blue suit, gray suit, brown suit, dark color suit. You don't ever stand up in nobody's pulpit in no lime green suit.
Yeah.
I don't care what they color. And we never had that opportunity anyway at Unity. But sometimes when we were in auxiliaries and stuff, So if you remember, Clay, the Unity used to have the Festival of Flowers.
Yeah. Yep.
And we always had, it was always, let me see, April, May.
Mm-hmm.
So those were pastel colors.
Yeah.
And it never felt that it seemed like that Sunday was always a Sunday I had a chance to go preaching. And I got on like a lavender blue ensemble and get cussed out.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was not what they were tolerating, you know.
Right.
And you had to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I met Pastor Ray as an older preacher, you know, on his decline.
Mm-hmm.
He was declining as a pastor. His mouth still worked. And he told you how I was. And then he knew, I didn't think he would know who I was.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm like, I don't, because we didn't get the ability to get that close. So I'm like, he wouldn't know who I am. You need me to call HG?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your mama, he told me, that little bitty finger room. I said, yeah, she got a name, you know. You know, but I can appreciate it. And it's something that I guess this generation are just not going to get blessed to get.
Right. Right.
Unless those who are part of that very harsh but helpful upbringing, if you will stay true.
Right. Right.
You know, I have a serious criteria in order to preach it. And our associate ministers,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't deviate from it. I remember my grandfather told me when I was getting ready to get ordained, he said, even if one of your ancestors is shaky, I won't time you. That's old school because, Clay, that's when they put the chair in front of the church.
Yep.
And they ask the question in front of the folk.
Everybody.
And it almost seemed like they gave him the answers.
Like the audience knew every answer.
Sitting there trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the worst thing in the world, the moderating council get up and go out. So they can deliberate.
Right.
That's the longest 5 minutes in your life. I've been preaching now 24 years. And pastor total about 15. And man, I'm telling you, battles call me.
Hold on, Texas.
And I'm telling you, man, it's nothing like it. I wouldn't trade it. But you are kind of like one of those rare toys you find. Because it really wasn't another guy that was just kind of revolutionary like you were.
Mm-hmm.
Until Storm Evans came out. Storm Evans was that 8-year-old apology preacher.
Oh, yeah.
Remember him?
Yes. They wore him ragged. He was all over.
Really that didn't happen that often in that.
No. Mm-mm.
You didn't get a guy that just was like 8 or 9 years old.
Mm-mm.
Ripping the place.
Yeah, not normal. Not normally. I think Lowe started preaching when he was 12. I mean, I didn't know him then, but he started when he was, I think by the time we met Lowe, he was 17, 18, somewhere around there. And I started preaching when I was 15. I was the only young preacher for the longest in that circle. There may have been other ones, but in that South Los Angeles, Watts, Compton area. You know what I mean? And
Unity didn't have no youth preachers.
no, I didn't.
No, we had Reverend Choice and
I remember Choice.
David Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We didn't have no youth preachers. Randy and I.
Yeah. That might be why your pastor picked on me a lot. Yeah. God bless you, Emmanuel B. Luther, out in Florida. Man, God bless you. We met Luther. Yeah, he in Florida. Pastor. I think he got relatives. He's got a daughter that lives here in Vegas, but met him when he was called to McKinley Avenue, and was helpful and really helped me out during ministry. Matter of fact, I was in transition.
46 and
McKinley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Remember we was talking about them popes the other day. Lucius Pope was at that church.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. Lucius and T.M. Chambers Jr. Wasn't T.M. there?
Yeah.
I think he was there for a minute. T.M. Chambers Jr.
There's a whole lot of preachers went through McKinley.
Yeah. They had their fair share and may continue. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, we go. Oh Lord, we're gonna have to come back and talk about that another day. But listen, man, I'm gonna wrap this up. But we're gonna have to do is when we get past this shutdown, we're gonna just really sit down and just chit chat. I think it's a lot of a lot of nuggets in there, and man, I appreciate you. I want to encourage you. I wouldn't just do that over this mic and over this video camera. If we were in person, I'd tell you the same thing. If I haven't told you already, I'm super proud of you, man. Just keep doing the work. Keep your head down, doing the work until God says something different. You know what I mean? And we can't keep looking at the guy next door to us and, comparing his notes to ours because they're not called to the field that we called to. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That was a fella in L.A. years ago named MG Ward. I don't know if you remember Ward. That might be before your time. Church was on Central Avenue. And I remember he was doing a lot of revivals in L.A. He would preach a lot, they'd fellowship a lot, and they would preach Ward. And then I met this preacher in Chicago and come to find out that Ward pastored a gigantic church in Chicago. But he was in L.A. pastoring a little bitty storefront. So here's a cathedral preacher in a storefront church. And it made me re-examine what I thought about successful ministry was. You know what I'm saying? Who am I? Because you stand up looking at 2,000 or you got 20 or 10. Who am I to make that evaluation? At the end of the day, the Lord pays. And if I'm correct in the analogy in the parable, we all get the same pay.
Yeah.
Right. You started early and you got you got 20,000. I start late. I got 10. When the day is done, we all get paid the same pay. Right. So man, keep your head down, Doc. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And my love to you and the family. And
absolutely same here.
Yeah, man. Your mom, when I moved here, and Dad were very, 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 very instrumental in me staying in Vegas and being connected. Because New Revelation became my anchor. You know what I mean? That was my anchor. Horn was my partner. New Revelation was my anchor. And they made me feel welcome. Every time I was around, something was going on. As a matter of fact, a couple times in crises, I get phone calls from them, especially after Horn passed, and that just made me feel connected, not just to New Revelation, but to family. Because when I moved here, Doc, I had no LA family, none. Wow. And besides my wife and grandkids and bonus daughter, it's the same. I'm out here on the island. Been on this island for 20 years.
Wow.
Man, but you be encouraged, Doc. Be encouraged. Keep doing the work.
Sir.
Keep doing the work. My love to you. I appreciate you being on tonight. And all of those who tuned in and were blessed by it. I thank God for 40 years. A shout out to everybody who tuned in. Some folk I can't see you there. My nephew was on, Kenneth Dunn, Pastor Emmanuel B. Luther. Curly Smoot, who's kind of my godmother. She was on. She's in Shreveport, Louisiana, and God bless you all for being on. Pastor James McCool, Pastor of the Greater Carver Baptist Church. Give me that address, Doc.
1221 J Street,
1221 J Street. You get any contact information, some
8916.
email address,
Uh,
any contact information to the church just in case somebody want to visit or look for
yeah,
you?
so if you want to email us, just go to Greg Carver at, sorry, let me get it.
It's all right.
Info at Greater Carver LV.
Okay.
And if you want to call here, it's 702-648-111, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube. Follow us on all of our social media. You can find us anywhere.
Right. And I appreciate you again. And keep the work on up. I follow you on all of those, except for Instagram. I gotta add you on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. Yeah, but keep up the good work, man. Love you, man, and I appreciate you.
Love you too.
We will see all of our members. We'll see tomorrow at Tuesday at 7 p.m. Our member check-in. We do a little check-in and just check on each other. That's really what we're doing. Just seeing how everybody is and anybody need anything. We do that every Tuesday night at 7. We use the Cisco WebEx application to do that.
Nice.
Yeah. And kind of do that every Tuesday night. So we're looking for y'all on Tuesday night. Wednesday night Bible study. We'll be starting back up again. So I look for you on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Wednesday. I'm sorry. Thank you. My technical director. Wednesday at 6 p.m. Not Tuesday. Wednesday at 6 p.m. We are on this 2-week lockdown in Las Vegas. So all of us who live in this city, please, ma'am, please, sir. I'm going to emphasize it. I know our governor has said it. I know we got a lot of crazy people running around saying we're not going to hear the governor. It's imposing on our civil rights and civil liberties. God bless you and your civil liberties. I've seen people in this town leave this place. People who look like me, look like Pastor McCool, African American, leave this place. So it may not be affecting a certain race in a certain way, but more black and brown people die from COVID-19 than any other ethnic group. That's enough for me to go out and wear a mask and wash my hands and social distance. Actually, it should be called physical distance because what we're doing right now is social connection, right? Physical distance, right. Physical distance. All right. God bless you. Thank you, Doc, again. My blessing to you. Just hang on a second.